What's up, y'all? Happy Sunday. So, you have a lot of Christians that say that, you know, we no longer have to keep the law. They love to quote Paul's scriptures. We're no longer under the law, not by works, faith only, brothers. But, Christians really don't understand the scriptures. I'm just going to say it. Christians don't really understand the scriptures. See, you have wicked Christians that don't want to keep God's laws in the church, you know, teaching black and brown people that they don't have to keep the law. How can you say Christ came to do away with the law when he was quoting scriptures that Moses wrote in the Old Testament? That makes no sense, Christian. It makes no sense. So, welcome to another episode of When Christians Post Scriptures but don't know what the hell they talking about. All right, let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 19. Let's start at verse 3. It says, "The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him." They were always trying to tempt Messiah, trying to get him caught up, but he always understood before they even came to him that they were going to tempt him. Tempting him and saying unto him, "Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?" You see, you have brothers in the Christian church, today that put away their wife for every cause. But Messiah says, verse 4, "And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female?" Not male and male Christians, not female and female Christian. He made them male and female. And said, "For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore, they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder." So right here, Christian, right here in Matthew 19, Messiah is telling you that the law is not done away with. He did not come to take away the law. You see, he is telling you that the law of marriage still stands today. Once you are married, you are bound by that law to remain one flesh. That's before his crucifixion, after his crucifixion. The law of marriage is still here. It's not null and void, Christian. So let's continue, because some Christians are saying, well, Moses gave a law of divorce. Y'all hold true to that law, because most of the people in the Christian church have probably used this law more than once. Hypocrites. Verse 7, "They say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement?" Y'all love that. Y'all love this law. "And to put her away. He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, because of your stiff neck and rebellious nature, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so." Christ said that law of divorce, Moses gave it to you, so he wouldn't have to put you to death, because you were stiff-necked and rebellious bunch of people. But from the beginning, it was not so. So from the beginning, let's get the law from the beginning. All right, we're in the book of Genesis, chapter 2. Let's start at verse 21. "And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Let's hop on over to the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 16. I'm going to show you another reason why Christians say the law is done away with. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, you know how you have men in the Christian church that teach their sons, we're going to go and get you some protection from CVS, the corner store, you know. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, a young woman that's, 14, 15 years old in high school, and you have Christians that teaching their children that, as long as you have protection, is okay, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. See that? So you have young men, their parents are Christians, die-hard Christians, they at the door every Sunday greeting you into the church, you see, but they teaching their young sons that it's okay to lie with a woman that's 15 years old, 18 years old, before you married. And as long as you have protection, it's all right. You see the hypocrisy? So the law is still in effect. You see, the law is still in effect, but little simple things like this and things like this, divorce. You see, they want to keep these. They want to keep divorce. They want to keep tithing. But Messiah says from the beginning, it was not so. You have to, if you lie with a woman, you got to put a ring on that woman's hand. You see, you got to marry that woman. So, but you can never divorce her, except it be for fornication. But the Christians, they don't want to hear that. That law to them is done away with. It says it right here in verse 9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. So, unless your wife commit adultery on you or is in some form of fornication, you cannot put that woman away. And vice versa. You cannot put that man away. You see, you have people in the Christian church that say, I'm legally separated. They go and have their girls' night out, in the club, and, they sleeping with Tom, Dick, and Harry. They're in all sorts of debauchery. And then a year later, they say, my husband and I are going to reconcile. That's total out of order. That's out of order, Christians. You see? So the law is not done away with. You just have to learn to maintain. Mortify your members, Christian. That's what it boils down to. Mortify your members. See, Book of Colossians. This is Paul's writings. Why would he tell you mortify your members if the law is done away with? Uncleanness, inordinate affection, man on man, woman on woman, evil concupiscence, covetousness, So, inordinate affection, isn't that in the law? Why would Paul tell you, mortify your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection? That's in the law. That's in the law of Moses. I'm not going to get it for you, Christian, but it's in there. It's in there. It's in Leviticus 18. Read it. So all these things, Paul says you have to mortify, mean kill it. You see, and the only way you can kill it is through the law. That's the only way. Because you don't know that being covetous, is idolatry, unless it was through the law. Let's go to the book of Romans chapter 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? Is the law sin, Christian? God forbid. No. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. What are you Christians talking about, man? For I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. See that, Christian? So the law, verse 12, wherefore the law is holy. I don't know about you Christians, but I want to be considered holy in God's eyes. Separate. The law is holy and the commandment holy, just and good. Paul said the commandment is holy, just, and good. What are you Christians talking about? The laws? Man, y'all blaspheming. That's what it is. You blaspheming the law of God. Verse 14, for we know that the law is spiritual. You want to be spiritual? Keep the law. But I am carnal, sold under sin. So, once again, Christians, the law is not done away with. Paul says, mortify your members. You see, if it's impossible to keep the law, why would Paul say, mortify your members? You see, mortify your members meaning keep the law. That's the only way you can mortify your members. You see. So, welcome to another episode. I hope this was edifying to you. Like, share, and subscribe. Shalom.